labels from my paper. They're beautiful circles, exactly where I wanted them on the paper. Again, like I said though, I've had a few extra problems from there, so I might do a troubleshooting video tonight with the help of the amazing Brett, who was the, I guess, brains behind all of this debugging and being able to make the Cricut work for us how we want it to. So now I want to be able to cut it out of laminated paper in exactly the same spot. So there's a few little bits and pieces that I've done there. Number one, I want to do a new one of these. So Control C, Control V. I want it to be exactly the same. I'm going to make it a different color. It's laminated paper, so I'll do it that. I will, oh, no, I want that one there. I don't need this blue one anymore, but I do want, remember, at 0 and, oh, not 9, 0 and enter. So that's now again in that same space as my template. All right, but when I cut it out of laminate, I want it to be that little bit bigger. So I'm going to insert my shape again, but I want it to be that bit bigger. So I've measured and I want it to be 8.2. So that should give me enough space, enough space around my circle to cut out and give me a little bit in case, because like we all know, when you load it into the laminator, it goes at different angles and areas, and then the wind comes and it blows it. So I'll show you what I've done to try and reduce that error. One of them is making the circle a little bit bigger. It doesn't really matter what this circle color is, and I'll show you, as long as it's not the same color as the, no, didn't want to do that. Sorry, I wanted to copy that one. Copy and paste. Like I said, I've been doing that the whole time, but just with Control C and Control V. Actually, I want to make that a little bit bigger, just so that I can show you what I'm doing. Hopefully, I will be able to share with you the document that I have done very, very carefully. So I just went through and copied these. Oh. My quick keys, what have I done wrong? Something's not working, let's try again. There we go. Now, as you can see, I'm lining it up. This one's not quite there, so I'm just going to push it there. It is a little bit of trial and error with this as well. All right, so I think that that's a bit centered, and then what I'm going to do to check is slice it. Now, as you can see, it's not quite centered, so I'm just going to undo that slice, and then I'm going to move this down and across. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Maybe just up. Maybe that's what I needed. All right, so try again. Oh, no. And slice. That's looking a bit better. So again, in my actual document, I made sure that it was absolutely perfect. Same thing, I have to send it to the back every time. And then slicing. I might just move that one over one little bit. You would also be able to fix this when you're lining it up to laminate it. See if I can slice. Yes, there we go. Range center back. Slice. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So again, you just want to try and avoid as much human error as you can, because we're not perfect, and I'm not going to spend all of my time making sure that it's lined up, but I'm going to give it a shot. Which way was that? Too busy talking. Oh, perfect. That one looks very nice. Pat on the back for me. Oh, again. So like I said, you would be able to do this with any shape and anything that you've found. Obviously, it would help if they are one of these shapes. I would certainly be starting off with that, but I'm sure that in Design Space, when you upload, that you'd actually be able to make it the shape that you, like, cut out those shapes that you want. Hopefully someone can show me. Oh, gosh, send you to back. Hopefully someone will be able to show us that. If not, I'll try my very best to do it in the future. So again, same thing, we don't actually need these circles. So I'm going to delete, oh, delete. Oh, no, not that one. I want to keep that one. That is my cut document. I want to delete all of these circles that I've cut out because I don't need them. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. That's the rain coming in. I don't know where you have been these school holidays, but I have certainly had my fair share of rain, even though I was told moving over here, that it hardly rained at all. That's okay though, I'm very used to the rain. All right, so this one is now my laminating one. So if I put them all on, you can see that there is just that slight different shape. If I hide that one, then you can see my templates behind them. So again, we had, hide them all, so our original template, we had the template on the cutting mat. We had circles for our paper, and now I've got my circles for my laminate. So I'm gonna send my circles through my laminator now. I'll show you what I've done to be able to help me get them in the right spot, so that then when I line it up in my Cricut, we hopefully can cut in the right spot too. All right, one more thing is when I went to make it in this one, I did make sure, and continue there, that's fine. I did make sure that I pressed a little bit harder, and I thought, hey, a laminating sheet is kind of the same as your mat protector. So I've just, when it does its thinking, maybe someone might be able to help me out. Does this happen every time? So I went, and I think I might have favorited it. No, I did not. Browse all materials. I think it was right down the bottom. Let's try that. Paper, plastic. So I was looking here, I'm like, oh, what is a laminating sheet like? I didn't really know what it means by plastic packaging. I thought though that it was probably quite similar to the cutting mat protector, and that seemed to work. So hopefully it does for you too. All right, I'll meet you over at the laminator and then at the Cricut for our final cut for our amazing labels. All right, so here I am with my circles ready to laminate. Now, as you know, I can't just laminate and put them anywhere, because then when I bring it back to my Cricut, it's gonna cut these circles in, oop, it's sticky, in this place. So if I've stuck them here, then that's not going to cut where I want it to. So what I did do rather excitedly before was I ripped this A4 page off. But I actually want to make sure that I keep one in great condition so that then I can line up my laminating sheet. Now when I do that, again, I want to do it exactly the same as I do with my Cricut cutting mat. So I want to make sure that the corner of the laminating sheet here is here, and that just makes it a little bit easier for me, because then I'm going to line it up the same place here, because I've already created that document. So I am now going to place my circles inside the laminating sheet here. Remember that when we've done our second document, it cuts it out that little bit wider. So that should give us enough space there for error as well. I'm going to do that. I can't do it with one hand, so I will see you once it's all loaded. I actually worked out that I can place my phone against something, so then I'm just going to do it from the top down and then place them in like so. So I'm just going to line them up as close to as I can. Like I said, I've given myself a little bit of space, so that should be very helpful. All right, so that's now in. Very carefully, I've got my trusty Kmart laminator all set up. Now the other thing that I did notice when I went to do this was that the corners pulled up. So I'm just going to shove a plain piece of paper under it. And that just gives the laminator something to go with as well. So just a plain piece of paper and placing it in my trusty Kmart laminator. And it also gives the paper and the label something to hold on to as well, because sometimes when you do pick up your laminating sheet, it wobbles as well, or the wind comes and then it moves out of place. So again, my wonderful Kmart laminators are so great for use at home. They are not super fast, so just bear with me. Like I said, I've added that piece of paper because the first one I did without it, this kind of folded under. I'll actually show you, I've got it here. And so that's not going to make my Cricut happy, and it's going to make my lining up quite difficult. So yeah, that was one of the other little tricks that I used, was that piece of paper underneath, and I haven't had a problem since. I'll see you when we're back over at our maker. All right, now after that little disaster, I've just cut off these two, and I cut off the extra part that just screwed and crinkled up. So I'll just get it to cut it again, and I've actually used my Cricut tool just to push that down. I have been working it pretty hard for the last last 2 days, cutting circles again and again and again. So I'm assuming that now it's just a little bit getting a little bit blunt, so I might try the aluminium foil trick. But it certainly doesn't discourage me. As I was looking, I just saw that the Cricut will cut Kevlar, or the maker at least will cut Kevlar. Now that is a pretty hardy material, and if it can cut that, I'm sure that it can cut a few hundred laminating sheets. But I might just try and at harder pressure next time. So that worked well, no massive problems. Again, now it's going to cut that. I also think I've got my blinds sitting there, so that's one of the problems that it might have pushed through there. But as you can see, now it's not quite perfect. Like I said, I didn't sit there and try and do my very best when I put together this document. But I've got all of my little name cards in a beautiful circle. Sorry, one-handed again. Oh, there's another name popped out. And my circle. I think what I did was, if I positioned my laminating circle up just a little bit more like I like, these are the ones that I've been doing. And as you can see, they are pretty spot on and perfect. So, I hope that you can have a go. Like I said, I will do a troubleshooting, because what happened was when I printed these off at school, much higher quality paper and print, it actually resized it. So they're no longer the same size. I don't know if you can see. They're a little bit smaller, and I had lots of problems trying to rejig it without actually knowing what was going on. So I might do a troubleshooting video for you tonight for that. So there are a few steps, and no wonder we've all been so discouraged as we've gone along, because although it seems such a simple thing to do, you need to tell the computer and your Cricut exactly what you want it to do. So hopefully that's helped you guys a little bit. You may do things differently, you may have your own tips and tricks, but that's just what's been working for me as my super experienced one-day Cricut maker extraordinaire. But I am just blown away by the response already of all of the teachers on our Facebook page saying that they bought their Cricut to do things like this, and you are just wanting to know how. So I really hope that now that the school holidays are over, you can experience and hopefully still use your weekend to create some new resources and some new things, and just use your Cricut the way that you always hoped and dreamed for. Again, it might not be perfect and it might not work for you, but hopefully I've given you some hints and tips to keep you on the right track. I also hope that you've seen my growth mindset as I've gone along. I've had lots of mistakes, lots of things. I apologize for the recording of my video that I have a little bit to learn there too, but this was my very first video and my very first attempt. I'm gonna go warm up now because as I've been recording, it's gotten so cold. Happy cricketing.